Wanted to follow up on those stories that have been in the headlines. And just over 2 weeks ago, former Philadelphia police officer was charged with murder after the fatal shooting in Huntington Park. First of all, let me bring back to the conversation the founder of the Justice for David Jones Coalition, Isaac Garner. Good to have you back in the studio.
Thank you, Frankie.
Absolutely. Good to have you here. Also joining us is Norris. Chris, I've had a wonderful conversation with you talking about the stories that you've covered, what's happening here in the city of Philadelphia. But I want to start with you, Isaac. Let's go back and talk about what happened to David Jones. And for those people who are listening to the story for the very first time, to give the details as you know it, he was shot and killed by a Philadelphia police officer. And in the interim between the shooting and the charging of now by the new district attorney Krasner. So let's start from the beginning of what happened that day.
David Jones was on June 8, 2017, which was on a Thursday last year. David Jones was attempting to go sell his dirt bike. He was approached by Ryan Powell, the police officer from the 15th district, who was transporting a father and two children to the SBU unit. Ryan Powell got out of his vehicle, approached David Jones.
Can I stop you there?
Yes.
Because I want people to be clear about what was happening that day, because the district attorney made reference to whether or not he should have stopped anyway that day.
Absolutely.
And the transportation on that day of the individuals in his car.
Yes, the father and the two children, which they were about 40 seconds away from the SBU unit. 40 seconds later, David Jones will still be alive today. So Ryan Powell now decided to jump out of his vehicle, put a gun to David Jones' head, as we found out when the grand jury testimony was released, and told David Jones, "I'm going to take your bike." David Jones proceeded to get away from Mr. Powell. Struggle ensued. David Jones had a firearm which was thrown away from Ryan Powell. David Jones proceeded to run away from Ryan Powell, and then Ryan Powell shot 3 shots, 2 of them, one shooting David Jones in his buttocks, and the second one shooting him in the back, ultimately killing him. He died June 8, 2017. Ryan Powell was a 15th police district officer who also shot another black man, as we talked about before, Cornell Williams Cardi, in 2010, shot him in his back as well. He's now paraplegic. After that day, a lot of protests were started to bring justice for David Jones. We've done a lot of disruptions of public events, public officials and stuff like that. A lot of people see, what was going on last summer. So Ryan Powell was ultimately fired on September 7th last year of 2017, and he was indicted this past 4th of September, last Tuesday.
And after going to the district attorney's office, once he was elected and went before the grand jury, and he has been charged. Let me bring into the conversation as well, Chris Norris, your thought on where this started and where we are, and moving forward.
Sure. So some of the really key points that have been left out of the media coverage as it relates to the